Hello everybody and welcome to Community Bank Commentary. I'm Philip Smith with Gerrish Smith Tuck Consultants and Attorneys. This video is being sent out to our clients and friends across the country, to executive management, boards of directors, those of you that support the community banking industry. For the past 32 years that our firm has been in existence, I know many of you have seen us speaking on webinars. You've been to the conferences where we've presented. Many of you, fortunately, have had us out to your banks to speak with your groups as well. And this video series is representing a continuing evolution of our firm during these unique times, when perhaps we're not able to make as much face-to-face contact with you as we otherwise would. We thought this video series might be an additional way for us to provide our unique commentary on community bank issues across the country. So we hope you will enjoy it. First of all, the necessary disclaimer: this is not legal advice. We are not advertising for services. We merely want to provide commentary on things that we see that we're otherwise advising our clients of, and provide that to a wider audience across the country. There's really a couple things on this very first installment of Community Bank Commentary that I want to talk about. First, I would be remiss if we didn't mention this COVID-19 coronavirus scenario that we're in. Most of you are probably up to your eyeballs in PPP loans, or now trying to figure out how to process those or how to deal with the ramifications coming out of that scenario. Certainly it was a program implemented in a hurry. Quite candidly, not all the rules and regulations had been developed at the time that we began processing those. Just in the past week, I have had clients of mine calling and saying everything from the fact that, well, with the new regulations, some of my clients that took more than $2 million are subject to being audited, and they're concerned about that. Do I, as a banker, have liability for the certifications that those banks made? I even had one client call and say they had a threat of a potential lawsuit from a bank that they did not process their PPP loan. Some type of sort of a negative lender liability for not having processed a PPP loan. So we certainly understand that there's a lot of change and dynamic going on with that, and it's certainly fulfilling most of your time. I guess the key commentary we want to provide to that is, first of all, to give those of you that felt the pressure to rush into that and to make those loans that we think you did the right thing. It appears as though there is going to be very little liability associated with the banks making a good faith effort to process these loans. I certainly think there could be some regulatory issues on the back end. There could be some second guessing of why we did what we did, how we did. But for the most part, it's our hope and belief that there should be some amount of protection, particularly for community banks, for having tried to do the right thing and process these loans as quickly as possible for the benefit of all of our communities. So hang in there with those, but do be aware of the ever-evolving process of these, the ever-evolving interpretations of how they're going to be viewed, and the idea that some of these loans that you've made may in fact not be forgiven. They will still be guaranteed by the SBA, but you may have to deal with customer issues where they are not totally forgiven. So be aware of that and be prepared for that. The second big commentary I want to leave you with relates to what is truly the fiduciary obligation of organizations during this interesting time. And let me maybe style this by making a commentary on a commentary that I saw. Recently in one of the national trade publications, there was an article written where the author basically espoused this opinion. It was in the nature of saying, hey, bankers, directors, officers, as part of this coronavirus situation, please do not go back to your shareholder first ways. So a commentary saying, don't put shareholders at the front of the line. Quit focusing on shareholder value. Focus on all the other ramifications that come out of coronavirus and COVID-19. Let me maybe make a commentary on that commentary and suggest, as many of you know our firm, we are gigantic proponents of advocating that the core fiduciary obligation of most financial institutions, certainly commercial banks and community banks, as for-profit entities, is in fact shareholder value. That doesn't mean that we're foregoing our communities. It doesn't mean we're not trying to do right by them. But in order to have the ability to make PPP loans, to invest in our communities, to give our employees a proper place to work and continuing employment, we do need to continue to focus on shareholder value. That's why you're continuing to see organizations look at doing things like making extraordinary dividend payments in this time to give their customers who are employees, who also are stockholders, the ability to take that cash and reinvest it in their communities or provide for their families. There's the idea that I'm reinvesting in my community by investing in my stockholders, and therefore that helps all these other constituencies that maybe the author in that other commentary was focused on. We're beginning to see organizations look at buying back stock, repurchasing stock as a way of putting cash in stockholders' hands. So we are absolute advocates that community banks in particular need to do what is right for their communities, but you don't need us preaching to you for that. Community banks always do that. That's what makes us unique. But we can't forego shareholder value in the midst of this. If we don't ensure the short term for shareholder value, there really won't be a long term for our organization. So our commentary on that commentary is the sequencing was wrong. We continue to focus on shareholder value. That gives us the ability to do all the other positive things that we want to do in our communities and otherwise. So don't forget that obligation. So now you've fully participated in the first ever community bank commentary from Gerrish Smith Tuck. We hope you have found some illuminating information in this. We hope it's helpful to you. And until next time, we hope you stay healthy, safe, and prosperous.